from Sammy's Restaurant at 202 U.S. Highway 90 East in Castroville. Sports for Supper, a weekly look at what's happening in area sports. And now, along with Maury Stein, Dwayne Garza, and Jeff Stivers, here's the host of Sports for Supper, Jared Lucky.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sports for Supper. We're in our extra show of the year here because of the playoffs, and we decided to stay on here as long as the football team was going. And we're in the playoffs, and we're joined by Coach Crisp here. I'm Jared Lucky, along with Maury Stein, Dwayne Garza, and Jeff Stivers, and got a pretty good show for you tonight. We got Coach Crisp here. We got some of the football players, and then we're going to have the cheerleaders on here later this evening. And Coach Crisp, thanks for joining us again, and we're glad to have you back here this week.
It's always good to be back.
And you're coming off kind of a tough loss against Kerrville-Tivy. You guys played with them pretty much that whole game. It's kind of spiraled out of control there in the fourth quarter, but nonetheless, you had to like the effort you saw from your team throughout that game. Yeah,
I mean, I think through three quarters we fought with them really hard. We knew it was going to be a tough game. I mean, they're not district champions for no reason. Very talented team, very fast, very strong, and we fought hard with them, and the schemes that we had going were working. Unfortunately for us, we're a little beat up, and so offensively we struggled a little bit, and a couple of things happened there during that match that didn't go in our favor, and it's one of those things where things start to kind of tidal wave, and the fourth quarter, that's where things kind of all fell apart. So.
Yeah, and, you lose the game, but you got some help. Bernie Champion beat Alamo Heights 42-7 was the final in that game. So because of that, you're in the playoffs. Lockhart won, so you end up with the fourth seed, and you get to play the Brenham Cubs. And we have to go to Brenham on Friday night. That'll be a 7:30 kickoff Friday night at Cubs Stadium. And tell us a little bit about Brenham because none of us have seen them play. What do they do defensively and offensively? What are we going to see from them?
Yeah, I mean, Brenham they're a strong team. I mean, they beat Bernie Champion last year in this round of the playoffs, and I think we got that film. Our district kind of takes care of each other, and they shared their film from last year, and so we watched that. And it comes down to miscues, and Bernie last year lost a couple of turnovers to him, and some different decisions and that kind of thing that made the difference in that game. And then watching them this year, I feel like we match up. Out of whether we had the choice between, well, we didn't have a choice, but it could have been Weiss or it could have been Brenham. And I feel like we match up probably better with Brenham. It doesn't mean that there's any kind of solid guarantee or anything like that. We got to go out there and fight our butts off. But I feel like our defense is going to have a good game versus these guys. They look a lot like we do on offense. They've got a strong running back that's going to carry the ball, and they got a quarterback that can – he can run, he can pass, but for what our defense does, I think it matches up well. And we've got film on them that the teams that can move the sticks have success, and so they're 8-2, and so they find ways to win. And most of that comes off of other teams making mistakes, and so what we got to do is play mistake-free football.
Well, going back to the Tivy game last week, for 3.5 quarters, you were punching the number 9 or 10 team in the state mouth in their mouth, play for play. It just midway through that third quarter, Medina Valley had the ball, tied 14-14 after an interception, going down to take the lead. And unfortunately, one big injury to one of the Panther players. And Coach, I've never been part of a game like that to where what happened on the field carried over to the sidelines and even into the crowd, even to us in the press box. It reverberated, and it seemed like after that key part in the ball game, the momentum everything was gone. I mean, everything that had been worked on for 3.5 quarters, and these are young men. These are 15, 16, 17-year-old young men, and they see one of their players go down, and it's not one of those injuries where hey, okay, he's going to make it. He had to exit in the ambulance. How do you refocus a team after something like that.
Yeah, I mean, so the good news is that player's fine. You know, we saw him the other day at practice. He's good spirits, and he's doing well. He's moving around and that kind of thing. So that helps us refocus. You know, getting to see him this week is a good thing. And so it wasn't like it was the end of the world. But in the middle of a game, it's like, you know, when people equate football a lot to battlefield, and when that tide changes like that, sometimes it's irreversible, and it does something to your psychology. I know for me, it affected me. You know, I was out there, I got to see what was going on, and it was tough. And so, and it's hard on the kids. And sometimes, there's things that happen sometimes that you just can't refocus. And we knew, we got communication that, we were going to be in and all that kind of thing. And so kind of after that point, there was a change in our tactic because we knew we were in the playoffs and we had more to play for than just that game.
Yeah,
and so it wasn't we weren't going to sell out just to beat Tybee to prove some kind of point and risk something else happening. And so there's a combination of factors there, and it's hard. It takes the wind out of your sails big time.
Well, and Mari and I talked about that during the game, that you can't coach for something like that. You could go your entire career through college and pros and never be part of a game that has an injury like that. And to have that you got young kids out on the field that I've never seen something like that, and then you see one of your friends get taken off on a stretcher. You can't prepare for something like that.
Well, in a way that they did, though, Jerry, because we've been preaching up here, and the coaches and the players, whenever we talk to them, the next man up, the next man up. We've been saying that all season, and it comes into play, and I think they responded great.
Yeah. I mean, we were in a situation already on last Friday where we were in a next man up position in a couple of places, and the kids, they keep fighting. They go out there and do their job, and it's a matter of, you saw Kerrville. They had the same guys out there the entire game,
right?
I mean, and good for them, and it's not taking anything away from them. There wasn't a classless act, anything like that. They're not terribly deep either. I mean, there's nobody in 5A that just has stacks of players ready to go. And so, and it wasn't we scared them enough to where they had to keep their guys out there. And to me, that's kind of a moral victory.
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of like I talk to the kids a lot about Cool Hand Luke. Like, I doubt they've ever seen it, but when Dragline's beating the snot out of Luke, and he just keeps getting up and keeps getting up.
Coming back.
That's us. That like we are Luke. And I hope that's the mentality that we bring to every game. And you come Friday, we're gonna that's gonna be the way we come at them on Friday, and if they can't handle that, then we're going to come out on top. So.
You're like in the movie Shane. He keeps coming back instead of not coming back,
That's
and,
right.
This kind of reminds me, of one of my favorite groups, Rush. It's all the world's indeed a stage, and these young men are merely players, and they're out there for us, putting on a show for us.
Yeah.
And, I've got to commend them just for the way they've handled themselves all year, the way y'all coaches, and they've bought into y'all's system, and you see it building every week.
Yeah.
And they trust in you guys, and they believe in you guys. And, that's something that after an injury like that, that's something that they can build on. And you had said, and I've heard that the young man is back at school already.
Yeah.
So
no, it's going to be a good recovery too.
Yeah, it's going to be quick. I mean, he was walking around, so I was. He's got a shock, but But I think more than them trusting in us, which is huge. I mean, that's we've been working for that. They trust in each other, and I mean that's really what we want to get to is where, we want to shape what's going on, but we want them to be leaning on each other, and I think teams that do that really do great. And so, hopefully we'll see that come out on Friday, and we've really gelled as a whole unit. All three phases of the game, and when one phase is suffering, the other phases are stepping up, and so we're hoping we're going to see some of that on Friday.
Well, and one of the things we talked about at the beginning of the year is at the end of the year you're going to be a different ball club than what was at the beginning of the year, and we've seen that this team has evolved a lot over the course of 10 games, and they've gotten better progressively every week.
Even though we dropped the game to Kerrville, I still think we're playing the best football of the season right now. And is that still the train of thought in the locker room?
No doubt. I mean, I went back and Brenham runs a defense that's very similar to what we saw versus Lockhart, and so we go back and I'm going to watch what we did versus Lockhart and see what I would have done differently. Kind of go back and chase my ghost a little bit, I guess. But so I'm watching that, and man, if we were the team we are now when we played Lockhart, well,
Different story.
It's
Yeah,
a different story altogether because I mean, it's just I just see all the things that are the possibilities there, and so it's good, and the kids are growing, and they it's been a week where we're at the point in this season where it's polish, and we don't have to pound each other too much, and we're just it's a lot of mental stuff, and so knowing that they're getting it, that makes it a lot easier. So
Well, and just going back to last year, I know I'm not talking on the players' standpoint of view, but we drove up to, Leander Glenn thinking, this district's we're going to wipe out this other district. It's not even going to be close. This district's going to go 4-0, and lo and behold, Medina Valley loses, Bernie loses, Kerrville Tybee pulls through a miracle, Alamo Heights does, and this is a different mentality. Not going in there, full of you're full of confidence, but you're not going in there taking anything for granted. And if there's one positive that came about the game last week, it's the final score wasn't indicative of how good a ball game Medina Valley played, a top 10 team in the state.
Right.
Punched them in the mouth 3.5 quarters. And, like you said, Tybee kept their starters out on the field the whole game. So, you know what, maybe that other district's looking and saying, well, Tybee just beat them by 21 points. We ain't have nothing to worry about. Shoes on the other foot this year.
Yeah, this year I think that may be the case. I do feel like maybe there was, we feel like we're the best district in the state. And then I was at all district meeting today, and we got a lot of good coaches, a lot of guys that understand the meaning of football and coaching football and that kind of thing, and the importance of it. And we're pretty tight knit. They're good guys. Coach Jones over at Kerrville he's a good man. Coach Kaiser at Bernie Champion. All those guys, they get it. And we want our district to represent. And we kind of talked a little bit today about that surprise last year of you watch film, but you never really know. But we're hoping that maybe they're the ones overlooking us this year. And we want our goal as a district. Just we're rivals, and I want Bernie to win. I want Kerrville to win. I'd love to play Bernie again because that would mean we're doing really good. But I wouldn't mind facing a Kerrville again in 2 weeks.
What are the other matchups?
I know that Kerrville Tybee's playing Eastview.
Yep.
Bernie Champion is playing Weiss, and Lockhart's playing Weiss, and
Yeah.
Bernie Champion's playing
Glenn. They're who
That's
we had
right,
last
Leander
year.
Glenn. That's right.
Yeah, and so we've got Bernie Champion and Lockhart on the opposite side of the bracket of us, and so we've got Kerrville is on the same side, and if everything goes right and Kerrville beats their opponent, and then most likely end up playing Cal Allen, and we've got a matchup if we win versus either Alice or Mercedes. And so, everything's multiple games out. We're just focusing on this game. But,
Right.
You're kind of hoping that you get to see one of these guys you saw in district one more time. Just to all three teams that finished ahead of us, we lost to. We'd love a chance to just prove that we could do it.
Well, one thing, Coach, that I've noticed, and I've been standing on my soapbox, crying this out all year long. You're the first-year athletic director, first-year head coach, and I'm just sick to it just makes me irate when you don't get the respect from the officiating crew as the person on the other field just because they've been standing on that sidelines in the position you are a lot longer than you have. And I'm not the only one that said it, but it's being noted. And I don't know. Do you feel like that they're sliding you at all? Or should I not ask that on the air?
No. It's a fine question to ask. I don't know that maybe that's entirely true. I've communicated with some officials and asked them. My questions to them are, what can I do to help my kids? And I've gotten some insight from that. And I think that Tasso's in San Antonio is great. They're not afraid to give you feedback. And there's some things that we can do as a coaching staff, things we can do when we talk to our kids that make things more obvious and that kind of thing. And I want to learn, and so there's some things that we can do as a coaching staff to teach our kids. we think there's a holding call. Well, we see it, but they don't necessarily see it. What can I teach our guys to do to help that be more obvious? And they're more than willing to help and talk about the game mechanics. As a coach, there's mechanics that we understand, but we don't understand how the officiating mechanics work and what they're looking at and all those kind of things. And so knowing that piece of it doesn't hurt, when you're talking about why calls get, go a certain way and that kind of thing. And so,
I'm not sure there's any conspiracy going.
Well,
but,
I'm not by any means.
You feel that way
we
sometimes.
we have not gotten many breaks this year.
No.
I mean, throughout the season, we've been on the bad end of not getting in the breaks. And that's a punch in the gut. When that happens, it feels
maybe it's
like
because I'm an Aries.
It feels like a punch in the gut, and it can
bring
change
some astrology
momentum.
into this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's why we lost some games, but it's definitely a punch in the gut.
Sometimes I'll be honest with you. I think some of that comes down to mentality. Some of it comes to how you perceive things, and when we as a staff begin to think that maybe things are going against us, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, or you manifest that in your own thought process. Sure. And so and then what it does is it messes with how you make decisions and that kind of thing. And so I try. I mean, last week I lost my cool, and I don't do that very often, but
sometimes that's a good thing too.
Well, you got to show some emotion.
Show some emotion.
The point that
get them motivated.
I think I was justified. Of course, but it was You got to keep your cool and just focus on the right things, and I think that things will turn out that way.
Well, and you said it, it's how y'all respond to the officiating. And, next time I see Coach Mo, I just want to ask him, there was a couple of times in the ball game where I know he was asking a couple of those officials what their address is so he can send them a Christmas card. And I'm sure he got their addresses to make sure that he could send them a Christmas gift and a Christmas card. So
no, I can find them if I need to.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us here. We're going to talk to the players you brought with you for a little while.
Yes, sir.
Good luck this week, and hopefully we get to see you again next week.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Hopefully you're comfortable in the press box this week. So
yeah, exactly. Thanks, Coach. And we're going to go ahead and take a break and come back. You're listening to Sports for Supper, brought to you by Brenda Stein Photography, and we'll just a moment.
This is MVBN, the Medina Valley Broadcast Network.
Headed out to the game? Then make a stop at your local Valley Mart convenience store. With 12 area locations, Valley Mart is always right around the corner. Fuel yourself and your vehicle with quality branded gas and diesel, snacks, and fountain drinks. Always convenient, well lit with clean restrooms. Valley Mart, family owned and operated since 1984. And a proud supporter of Medina Valley athletics and area youth sports for over 30 years.
Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall, or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you.
Medina Electric Cooperative is sending 3 students on the trip of a lifetime for free. The 2020 Government in Action Youth Tour is an all-expenses-paid week-long learning and leadership event in June that starts in Austin and then takes kids to Washington, D.C. Winners also receive a $500 scholarship for college. The deadline is December 13th, 2019. Apply online at Medina.
You're watching Medina Valley Sports. This is the Medina Valley Broadcast Network.
We're back here at Sammy's Restaurant, Sports for Supper, brought to you by Brenda Stein Photography. And we are joined by 3 of the football players. And if I'm right, we're joined by 3 of the sophomores, right? You're all 3 sophomores. We've had all 3 of y'all here before.
Yes, sir.
And we'll start down on the end. Joe Tarvin, right?
Yes, sir.
And if you'll remind us, what's your position again?
Defensive end.
Defensive end, that's right.
44?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and all 3 of y'all were involved in some stuff over the week. But tell us walk us a little bit through that Tivy game, if you will, kind of the emotions of it.
We were doing real well in the beginning, and then once that injury hit, it kind of all went downhill. We tried to keep going, but
Yeah, don't elaborate on the injury any, but just like when you see something like that, I mean, that just kind of sucks the air out of you, and it's pretty hard to refocus.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Maury.
What is the keys that you're looking at with this
week.
Brenham team coming up?
I
What do they possess that they all saw last week against Tivy?
Fast quarterback. We gotta attack the quarterback and not let him run the ball. And let the running back run the ball.
So are they more pass? Are they more run? Or
It's kind of even.
even?
Joe, last time we talked to you, you had some things that you said you needed to work on. I don't remember quite what they were, but do you think you feel
Containment was one.
with
that
one
he
of them?
said,
Do you
yeah.
feel you're getting better with your position?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to get better at pass rush still. It's work in progress.
Is that something? Is that realizing that the pass is coming, or just the whole execution about getting in there?
Just trying to get off a move and get to the quarterback.
Getting to the
Well,
quarterback.
you got a lot of practice at that against Kerrville Tivy because they threw a lot. Were y'all kind of surprised that they stuck with the same quarterback the whole game? Because I know we talked about that they kind of switch them out, and they stuck with number 9 for the entire ball game.
Yes, sir. I thought they were going to put in number 4 because they did that against Bernie Champion, but they never really did. They just stuck with Trapper.
Yeah.
And the game coming up, do you feel the pass rush is going to be something that needs to be done more, or the running game? What in your mind, what do you see yourself working harder at?
The run.
The run game?
Mm-hmm.
Are they more of a running team then?
It seems like it on film.
Well, one thing I can say is the last 4 or 5 games, the Yalsa's defensive front has played phenomenal, and that just shows in the tackles that your linebackers are making. Y'all are not letting the first block get off and get into the secondary block, and you guys have been playing outstanding. Do y'all converse a lot of times during the game if you see something and one of the other ones are not doing? Who relates to who the most? Who gets on who the most out of that front 4?
Mostly all of us on the D-line. We all talk to each other, say stuff that we see. Like if a guard's pulling, we'll say, hey, he's pulling. And we'll know what to do from there.
Yeah, and the job that you do on the front defensive line there makes the guy next to you right here's job easier. I mean, he had a hell of a game too, but I mean that's all you attributed to a lot of time what the defensive line does. So
it starts right there.
Yep. Yep, and I know we probably asked you last time, but do you play other sports after football?
Yes, sir. Basketball.
That's right, basketball. Yeah, I remember
you
that.
started dribbling yet?
No.
Yeah, because that season. Yeah,
that means you still want football to last, right?
Yep.
It's about to start, but not for about 4 more weeks at least.
Hopefully not for a while still.
Not for a while.
Yep. Well, Joe, good luck in the
I want to put
Go
him.
ahead.
I want to put him
thing?
on a spot now because we asked these other guys, how many sacks you going to have this week? Can you guarantee us a sack?
I don't like to predict anything before the game.
Well, but
I respect that.
I do too,
get
but
that.
just promise us one.
I'll try and get one.
There you go. I like it.
Hey, when you do get it, you come up to him, you tell him, I got you.
No, I'll say it on the air. There's the one we promised. And then 5 more after that.
There you go.
Well, good luck this week, and hopefully we'll see you later on down the road.
Thank you.
And now we're going to be joined by the man who got an interception over the last week. And
yes, sir.
Talk us about that. And tell us your name one more time.
My name is Michael Tomaselli.
And talk us through that interception a little bit.
It was interesting. They lined up 4 on my side, and so I played back a little bit. And then when 2 players ran goes, and I've been taught to midpoint, and when he actually threw that ball to the inside receiver, I came off number 1, and I came up and made a play.
You made a good play, and at the time that was a big part of that football game because it was tied 14-14. That gave your team a chance to go ahead there and give your offense a chance.
Yes, sir.
You've been talking all year. You've been wanting to get that interception. You wanted to get a pick six, but you had to make a pretty athletic play and fall down like as you were catching it. But you finally got that one you've been wanting.
Sir. So what do you mean when you said you dropped back in the coverage and you used a term, and I can't remember what term you just used?
Oh, midpoint.
What is that? Explain to the listeners and to me what that means.
So Coach Little Mo taught us was midpointing, where there's 2 receivers going deep. You want to get in the middle of them. So if they throw outside, it's not a far run, and if they throw inside, all your momentum's already going.
And they threw to the inside.
They threw the inside, yes, sir.
Wow.
Speaking of momentum, so that going into this next game, do you feel confident with a lot of momentum that you can make the big play, and that's going to help your confidence a lot?
Yes, sir. I trust my D-line getting in there and then making him throw the ball up, and I trust our DBs getting out there and making a play.
And tell us a little bit about their receivers. What do they have? Are they tall receivers, big-bodied? What do they got?
They're tall. They really are tall.
Like Kerrville Tivy tall, like some of those guys?
Not as evenly as Tivy. Tivy was all around like 6'2". Here it's like 6'4" and 6 foot. It's all
more like Alamo Heights, where they have one really big
guy.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Wow. And are you going to be mainly on him, or it depends what? Or is he on the strong side or the weak side? What does he usually line up on?
This week, me and Tanner haven't been told anything if he's following anyone this week, so we'll be playing it on whatever side he wants or whatever the quarterback keeps throwing to. We'll move Tanner over there, and I'll play the weak side.
Okay. Well,
scoop and score?
Yeah.
Pick six?
I'm looking for a pick six.
Pick six, there you go.
Great.
I'm looking for one.
Well, and, you picked best time of the year to get one against Tivy there. Hopefully you get you one at the biggest point of the year coming up here. And, well, good luck in the week upcoming, and hopefully we'll see you down the line a little bit.
Thank you.
And last we have Seth Bullard.
Yes, sir.
And Seth kind of talked to us a little bit about that Tivy game, kind of the emotions of that game and what you saw from Kerrville Tivy.
Tivy, we came in that game knowing that we could win that game. And still sitting here, I know that we could win that game. Just Lackey going down, it was a big deal, but at the same time, it's something we need to be able to push through and learn from that situation to keep our momentum and keep our emotions throughout the fourth quarter of that game, because we keep our emotions and we keep our nerves down in that situation, and we could be a 3 seed right now.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, that it's a clean slate. Everybody's 0-0 now going into the playoffs.
Sure.
How much chippiness was there going on? I didn't see as much after the play activities as I did before. Kerrville Tivy's more of a disciplined team like y'all were. So how do you carry that into this next week's game? Because you don't know how Brennan's going to be. Are they going to be chippy like the Alamo Heights group where there's a lot of activity after the thing, or is it going to be clean?
That's something you really don't see on film, and I mean, that's something you learn mid-game, is whether or not you just go into every week wanting to control yourself, knowing that, okay, it's football, like there's stuff that's going to happen, but keep the personal fouls out of it. 15-yard penalties, we just not what we want.
Yeah, don't need to have them.
Can't happen. Do you hold it in you a little bit when there's somebody on the other side just chirping? Does that bring a little bit more out of you?
It just gives me fire. Some people, it makes them angry and messes up their game, but that's just them. Like, if they're talking trash to me, it means they're scared of me. And if I was horrible or something, then they wouldn't be saying anything. They would just be doing their thing.
So they're just trying to get under your skin just to get to you, and you
head.
Stay composed. And
yes, sir.
Yeah, in special, I know he plays special teams. It's going to play a big part this week.
Well,
and I think from here on out, special teams is a big part of the game.
Were any of y'all on kickoff?
Yes, sir.
How about that onside kick starting the second half? We didn't ask y'all about that because that was a big call.
Yes, sir.
In that game, it didn't get you any points out of it, but it did flip your field position.
Yes, sir.
And you ended up getting a fumble recovery on a punt, basically.
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about that onside kick.
So we're in the weight room, about to come out, and Coach Herb comes walking up and calls up kickoff with like fire in his eyes, walking up to us like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do, and then has Pablo, our kicker, walks up. He's like, well, we got to make something happen. We got to make a play. We've been playing this all week. We set him up, so all of our I don't want to say that. We set up the onside kick throughout the game. We started kicking on one side, and we saw the guy that was actually blocking me would pull to try to block me upfield, so their block scheme going downfield. And so Pablo kicked it right to him, had a great kick, and we recovered it.
And it was a great. That was the first time he tried an onside kick in a game. It took the high bounce. It did everything it was supposed to.
That second hop was uncatchable. It went pretty much right over that defender's head.
So the game plan was to kick it to the vacated spot who took him out of his alley because he was trying to block you down.
Yes, sir.
Downfield.
So if you go back and watch the film, there's only one guy over there to even get the ball. We have 4 dudes flying, mainly this one, flying down trying to hit him. Yes,
well, just be careful because that works both ways. The trickery comes out in the playoffs. Let me tell you, keep your head on a swivel and watch it contain because it will happen.
Yeah.
Defensive ends.
And there was a play, it was going to happen, but it ended up there was a penalty where they snapped it to Gibson as an up man on a punt, and he was going to throw the ball.
Yes, sir.
But unfortunately, there was a penalty there, but I wanted to see James throw that ball.
Well, I'm not going to ask either because we may have that.
Yeah.
Your job at linebacker, what are you keying on this week? What do you have to?
Just playing fast. Their O-line's huge. Like I'm not gonna lie, they're huge. But if you're just standing there with your feet under you, a tail tucked between your legs, then you're gonna get rolled up on, and you're in danger. But if you play full speed to the wall, like that's really all you can do in that situation, and just make plays.
Well, we've heard that they have a back similar to James Gibson.
Yes, sir.
And being that y'all have been facing him all season, you think that gives you kind of an advantage, being able to tackle a back like James and get to see something like that in a game?
I mean, James is just a great example. Like in practice, he's not really a dude anyone wants to tackle in the chest. I don't know many people who just want to run up and hit him in the numbers. But, just knowing how to tackle someone bigger and a great athlete is an advantage for us.
Yep.
So, can we put you on the spot and say you're going to block a punt maybe and run it back?
Since Joe doesn't want to man up and say anything, I'll call like a strip sack or something. I've been pretty good with the predictions.
Absolutely.
I'll call a scoop and score too.
Hey, you sophomores, you guys.
A couple of defensive touchdowns.
You guys are the karma here. You know that's why that's why y'all are back. When y'all are here, that started the 4-game winning streak.
Yes,
you know. And the predictions have come true.
I was going to say,
not maybe that game, but
I'd come out and say
week.
it if I was here because it's been coming true.
Absolutely.
So make it happen.
Yep. Well, guys, thanks and good luck this week, and hopefully we'll see y'all again when the playoffs continue, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we will come back. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue in just a moment.
This is MVBN, the Medina Valley Broadcast Network.
Nobody can design, create, or maintain your lawn better than 3D Landscaping and Irrigation. With over 17 years of experience, owner Ray Doyen and his crew take pride in their craftsmanship and service. They're fully insured, offer free estimates, and multiple references, so you know you're getting the best. 3D does landscaping, lawn maintenance, irrigation, tree installation, lighting, and more. Whether it's residential or commercial, 3D Landscaping and Irrigation has you covered. Give 3D a call at 830-985-9115 or find us online at threedlandscaping.com.
Double T Outfitters offers deer, dove, turkey, quail, and exotic hunts in Southwest Texas on over 20,000 low-fenced acres. They facilitate professional guide services, lodging, and fantastic meals while providing the best in Southwest hunting. Contact Double T Outfitters to find out details about their current package hunts. Contact owner Brett Ferguson at 210-413-1597 or online at doubleThunting.com.
Buying a new house means a lot of decisions, starting with where are you going to get the best mortgage? At our bank, we offer competitive rates, flexible terms, expert-friendly advice, and without the long wait you get from one of those big city financials. Make your dream home a reality. Talk with us. We're an equal housing lender. Come home to Castroville State Bank. Member FDIC. Visit us online at CastrovilleStateBank.com.
You're watching Medina Valley Sports. This is the Medina Valley Broadcast Network.
Welcome back here to Sports for Supper, brought to you by Brenda Stein Photography. And we are joined by some of the cheerleaders and the cheerleading coach, Brandy Guzman. And thanks for joining us here this evening. And
thanks for having us.
No problem. And tell us a little bit about this year's squad and kind of, competitions, things y'all have going on.
Okay, well, this weekend we have our first competition. We're at UCA Southwest Regionals in Austin, Texas. We also have our playoff football game Friday night, so we have a very busy weekend ahead of us. We've been preparing for our competition for a while. Once football season kind of dies down, then it's our turn to compete and kind of have our fun too.
Well, how quick after that do y'all have to get home to get ready to leave Saturday morning?
Well, actually, some of the girls are staying in Austin through the weekend. We compete on Sunday, so we have to get there around 1. We will not get home until like 2 o'clock in the morning. Awards are at 9 o'clock at night, so it's a long day, long night for us.
And is it go by classifications or by districts, or how does it work?
Well, this competition is not. It's just by size of the squad. And some of our schools that we typically compete against would be Alamo Heights. They're awesome, and we are usually like neck and neck with them. So we'll see them there. We'll see Johnson High School. What are some others? Churchill, Reagan, Sherryland, a lot of
So
those.
it doesn't matter about the school's enrollment. It depends on how many cheerleaders are in the squad.
Yes.
And how many are in y'all squad this year?
We have 28.
28.
Usually we like to have 30 on the mat. We lost 2 this year. They moved away. But we go to regionals to get feedback for our big competition, which is UIL State in January.
And this is just the varsity squad, correct?
No, we take JV and varsity with us.
So that's where the
All of
20
them.
some. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's all of them.
Coach,
and
Go ahead. Finish.
So we just get feedback so that we can make any minor adjustments before we go to state, which we want to win, and that is by division. So we're a 5A D2, and last year we got 3rd in state. We've been like top 4 in the last 5 years.
Wow, that's really good. Talk a little bit about the grant competition you have going on and the votes that y'all need.
Oh, yay, yes. So that's on KSAT. It's the cheer challenge, and the top 4 teams with the most votes every day until December 3rd get to go and cheer for the boys at the All-Star football game. And so we have 3 of our players that are going to be in there, and we really want to go and be able to support them.
So right now we're kind of head-to-head with Marshall, right?
Yes.
So what do we need to do to vote? How do we go vote?
Everybody just has to vote. You just click the link, you fill in your information, your
KSAT?
email. Yes, it's and we have it on our Twitter, on all of our social medias. We have QR codes posted throughout the school. The MVHS website, Twitter, all of our social medias, and they just click it.
You can vote every day, right?
And if you have multiple email addresses, you can vote
more
once
than
with all of
once.
those.
So and it's to get a $1,000 grant, is that correct?
Yes, it's a $1,000 grant, which would be awesome, but that's like
Right.
half of a uniform. We just want to be there cheering for our Medina Valley boys that are in the.
And that's
cha- in
James
the game.
Gibson, Charlie Marsh, and
Actually,
Grant Snyder.
Grant Snyder, James Gibson,
And Charlie Marsh. No?
Spencer
Payne. I'm
Spencer
sorry,
Payne.
it is Spencer.
Yeah. I mean,
Thank you,
really,
sir.
we should have all of our boys out there, but
Go through a day of cheerleading.
a day like
A
practice.
practice day,
yeah.
yes.
And, what's a normal day like for you guys?
All right, so all of our girls, we get to practice at 7 in the morning. We practice through first period, so until about 9 a.m.
We're at
in the Panther Dome.
in the Panther Dome.
Yes, depending on what season it is. Right now it's basketball season, so we're in the Panther Dome. And we roll out the mats and practice and do conditioning and run.
And y'all started that at what time? And back in August, whenever.
Oh,
or
man.
when do you start cheerleading?
Our summers are actually pretty busy. We go to camp, so we go to a multi-day cheer camp. We went to UT and then we went to A&M. We compete out there. We get learn some new routines, get some feedback, some pep rally routines, dances, and then we come home and get to work. Yeah, we get to work and start practicing our choreography for competition.
How do you determine? Is it dependent on what cheerleaders you have and their ability as far as who determines what the performance is going to be? How do you determine, okay, this is going to fit what we do best?
So actually, those things that you see or that we do at pep rallies are completely different than what our competitions are. We do game day competitions, so it's all about crowd leading and getting the crowd fired up for the team. So it's completely different. We have a band dance, we have a sideline chant, a cheer, and then we move into our fight song. And it's just like about a 3-minute long performance. It's very exhausting. We have lots of stunts, but it's very crowd leading. It's not like the all-star cheer that you would see, like, little youth leagues and stuff.
When do y'all practice that?
Well, that's the tricky part because we've had 6 pep rallies this year, and we like to go all out for a pep rally. So my girls come up with really fun stuff. So we have to kind of put that in there. We have weekend practices a lot. We had a choreographer from UCA come out and work with us, and we just try to fit that in when we can. And it's hard. It's tough.
Are there certain criteria you have to stay within or meet at a competition like that?
Mm-hmm. There are different guidelines. You have to use lots of props, signs. We have flags in the back. There's just a lot that goes into it. Yeah, we have 9 mats. You have to have it completely covered. The spacing has to be there. And those are just minor things, but you want to have stunts. Like we have 5 back tucks in the front. Certain tucks certain stunts, we have some like full ups, full arounds, some really great stuff. So we're really looking to do well this year.
I would imagine at these competitions, though, the minor stuff is what separates you from other
big time
other
Sharpness,
squads because
yeah.
I would imagine everything's pretty close, and when it's that close, it's the little things that they
Yes.
judge you on.
That's, even just flag timing, that's one area where it can really make or break you.
And you have some girls in the band, is that correct?
I do. We have 3.
3 of them? What is the mix between seniors, juniors, sophomores? How does that break down?
So this year we have a younger team. I only have 4 seniors. How many juniors? 8, 9? Yeah.
Wow.
So you'll have a lot coming back next year, too. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So do they, when you go into these competitions, do they say, okay, how many minutes do you have? How long do you have for your performance?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, and do they say you have to do so many tumbles, or you have to do so many?
Well, not really tumbling. It's just the sequence of events. So, and then what's kind of tricky, you have your band dance, and then the announcer will call either, they'll give you a prompt. So you either have to call an offense or a defense. So you have to know, you have to have some football knowledge. They'll say, 1st and 10, we're looking to score. And then our cheerleader has to be able to call the appropriate cheer, an offense cheer.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So you'll get to practice that part at games and stuff,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
You
That's
make them
why
pay
there's-
attention to the games and know what's going on so that you can do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so you'll see us down on the sideline and we have like our props, and sometimes we have flags and the megaphones, and that's really our practice.
Now you also teach.
I do.
What do you teach?
I teach biology and AP environmental science.
Both my kids, I believe, are in your class.
Uh-oh. You can tell me that when we're done.
Y'all dissected any frogs lately?
No. We don't dissect much. Now there's so much technology, we don't really have to do that anymore. They get to dissect in like anatomy and physiology.
Oh, y'all don't get to smell the formaldehyde from the
I
frog?
know.
That was
I hated that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Well,
yeah, that's it.
Coach,
cool.
After this meet, when do you go? When is the
UIL?
one that actually counts? Or this? I know this one
Our
counts, but
Big
when is it
Daddy
for
one
real?
Is January 18th in
At
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
So what happens in the springtime?
Oh my gosh, we rest, and then we get ready for tryouts,
And then you
which
have
is
tryouts.
a whole new.
The
can of
tryouts
worms,
happen
yeah.
before the year's out, right?
Yes, we like to give our results like the day before spring break, so that there's a week to settle down.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I don't know if y'all even have that happen. What happens, like, in the middle of a season if a girl moves in from another school and wants to be a cheerleader? How does that work?
Unfortunately, you can't do that. They have to be present. The only time that we've had that happen is for military. There's actually a clause.
Makes
yeah,
sense.
and they're allowed to try out.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I just didn't know how that worked because
I
I know
have-
you picked the squad the year before, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, what
But
if they
I
move
have
in the middle?
parents that are like, oh, well, my daughter goes to IDEA and we want to move to Medina Valley. When are your tryouts? So it's kind of
Okay.
like well known in the cheer world anyway. So parents are kind of looking out for that and they plan ahead.
Okay.
But if they're military, sometimes we have 2 open spots. So whenever we have a new girl come in, it's in cheer. I'm like, is your dad in the Army? So that would be great. But
Well, thank you for joining us here, and we're going to talk to the girls that you brought with you here in just a second. We're going to take a commercial break real quick. But good luck in your competitions coming up, and good luck in the rest of the season going forward.
thank you.
We are going to go ahead and take a break and come back. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue in just a moment.
This is MVBN, the Medina Valley Broadcast Network.
Every time I get a check, it means a trip to the bank. Well, not anymore. With a new mobile deposit feature on my banking app, you just snap a picture of the check, tap a screen, and you're done. I call it Easy Chair Banking.
Come home to Castroville State Bank. Member FDIC. Visit us online at castrovillestatebank.com. The pace of business is faster than ever. That's why when you need a business loan, you want a bank that can act fast. Not only do you get great rates and fast answers, you get the financial advice you need to keep your business growing. It's a better way to borrow. Stop by and let's talk. Come home to Castroville State Bank. Member FDIC. Visit us online at castrovillestatebank.com.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design, for all the latest specials and must-do vacations.
Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home in Castroville, Texas has been providing funeral services to families in the Medina Valley and surrounding areas for many generations. Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home is proud to support the broadcast by the Medina Valley Broadcast Network for the athletes and students participating in this event. Go Panthers! Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home, Castroville, Texas. You may view obituaries at Tondre, Tondre-Gwynn, Guinn.com, or visit the Facebook page of Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home to view funeral notices. You're watching Medina Valley Sports. This is the Medina Valley Broadcast Network.
Welcome back here to Sports for Supper, and we are joined by some of the cheerleaders from this year's cheerleading squad. And if you will give us your name and your year in school.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Persine, and I am a senior.
And tell us a little bit, like, what age do you start cheerleading?
I started cheering in middle school. I did not make it my first year I tried out, but I realized it was something that I wanted to do, so I've been doing it since 7th grade.
Since 7th grade. And going through as a senior now, you know, I'd imagine there's injuries and all kinds of stuff that goes with that and battling through it. When you go from year to year and you're in these competitions, like, how much does that drive you, especially now that it's your senior year and your last year? Like, how much do you want to win at those competitions?
I want to win very, very bad. I had a senior last year. Her name was Megan Barton, and she always stressed to us that it's very, very important to practice like you want to perform. So when we are at practice, you go full out, you do everything, sharp motions, you smile, you yell, and I do that all the time because when you get out there, then it'll be 10 times easier than it will be.
We're coming from a competitive family, as you are, seeing your dad there and knowing what he accomplished. How does that instill in you?
It really makes me want to impress him a lot because I know what he's done and what he's accomplished, and I want him to see me as a very hardworking person like he was.
What is the biggest injury you've had to overcome? What have you hurt that you can, you know?
I've done multiple
Is it one of those where
things.
you name it, you've done it? I mean,
I've broken my nose 3 times from a stunt falling on my face. I've gotten shin splints on both of my legs.
Those aren't fun.
And I've got 2 concussions from falling on my head from doing backflips.
But not from being dropped, right?
No, I
Okay.
don't get thrown in the air.
Okay.
I only get thrown in the air when I go to college stunt clinics.
You know, Friday nights is probably a big deal in your family. I mean, your dad played football. He was on a state championship team. Your brother played football. You've been cheering forever. So Friday nights come fall season is probably a pretty big deal in your family, isn't it?
It really is. My parents always try their best to come out and watch me and my brother when he used to play. It's a very big deal.
so are you, y'all formed the pyramids and stuff, were you on the bottom? Are you in the middle? Are you on the top?
I am on the very, very bottom holding the girl up. I am a back spot, so you have your 2 bases and your flyer that goes up, and I am in the back where I pull up her ankles, and I try and pull up all the weight off of the 2 bases, so it's a lot easier for them to do.
So your taller ones are on the bottom, and that's the stability of the whole. So it's like those Jenga deals or whatever. If they pull you out, the whole thing's gonna fall.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Is it? I got to ask you this because, you know, when they get thrown up in the air at the end, is it kind of nerve-wracking? Like, oh crap, I got to catch this girl.
Yes, it very is. One wrong move, like even one teeny tiny little thing you do wrong, like it can come crashing down. Like there are times where girls get thrown super high in baskets, and if one thing is not right, she can fall down and break her neck.
Have we had some close calls?
Broken nose, concussion.
You would think so, right?
Yeah, but that was on her own.
Oh.
That wasn't from that.
Oh.
That was from catching someone.
Oh, okay.
So how much does I'm sure y'all have the tumbling part also, rather than how much is that incorporated into the cheerleading?
In our UIL routines for competition, we always try and do those for our cheer because it's very crowd leading and crowd involvement, and it gets everyone excited when they see that. And then for pep rallies, we try and always have some type of tumbling in multiple parts.
So do most cheerleaders have a gymnastics background?
That's what I was, yeah.
Some of us do and some of us don't. A lot of us have to go out into San Antonio, or we can go to Amber's, which is here, so it's very easy. And we go and take classes to help us do all these flips and stuff to help us progress and get further.
So people who just watch and think it's easy, it's not.
Because you're judged on the form of that, correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about like what judges are looking for, like when you do backflips or like back handsprings and stuff like that.
You can do a backflip, back handspring, a back tuck, but if you do not have really good form, like if you're not tight, if your legs aren't squeezed together and it just doesn't look good, you can get points deducted off of that because it just doesn't look clean and nice.
Lindsay, what's on tap for you next year?
What's going to happen? I got a email. This summer, I got an application at UCA Camp to be able to try out for UCA staff. Coach Husman recommended me to the staff, and I sent in my application, and I recently got an email from them saying that they would love to see me try out. So I'm going to be trying that for this summer, which is really exciting because UCA staff is like the top, is like what you want to do, like the best of the best. And I'm also going to be going to Corpus Christi A&M to further my career in pharmacy.
Great.
And do you? Oh, go ahead.
I also made All-American this year at camp, and I'm going to be traveling with a bunch of other girls who made All-American to London. So it's really exciting, and we get to cheer in the London New Year's Eve Day Parade.
Congratulations!
Oh, wow.
Yeah, congratulations!
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. And thanks for joining us, and good luck in the competitions, and good luck going into UC, and hopefully that all works out for you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll move on to the next person here, and if you'll give us your name and your year in school.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Bodiford, and I'm a senior.
You're a senior also, okay.
Yes, sir.
And are you one of the girls that's on top of the?
I'm on top and I'm on the bottom. I can do both.
You kind of get moved around everywhere.
Yeah.
When did you start cheering? What age were you?
I was in 3rd grade when I started cheering, so it's been a solid 10 years.
Wow. and is that something that you just said I want to do, or your parents just put you in something like that? Like how did that come about that you wanted to do it?
I mean, my whole family has always been very cheer involved. I had a cousin that cheered for UTSA.
Okay.
And then my cousin, not my cousin, my aunt, Suzanne Moots, she cheered here.
Okay.
So kind of just carrying on the tradition.
That's cool.
So how many did a lot of y'all go to Hermanson's tumbling camp or any of that before you started cheerleading, or?
I started personally as a gymnast. I did gymnastics until I was 7, and then I was like, oh, gymnastics isn't my thing. It's not really all that cool. And I was like, oh, cheer. And then I got into cheer, and I went to Amber's for a really long time, and now I work there. So, it just kind of goes like that.
But did the gymnastics help you?
Oh yes, for sure. If you want to learn form, you start in gymnastics, definitely.
So
because that's all about form, right?
Yeah.
So where does a person go for that? Because I don't think there's any locally here gymnastics. Where Where did you go? Where would that somebody go?
I went into San Antonio, and I also did competitive gymnastics in Bernie. Yeah, for like 2 years, I want to say. Yeah.
Which was your event?
I did everything. So bars, floor, beam, vault, all of that.
Wow. Which was the easiest? They're not easy, but which?
Oh yeah, no. The easiest.
Which was your favorite?
My favorite was floor because it's just like it's more free and it's not as scary as the beam because like one wrong move and you're on the floor. Yeah.
Or one wrong slip on the parallel bars or uneven bars, whatever you want to call it, and you're on your back.
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you get thrown in the air some. You said you're on top sometimes.
Yes.
Do you ever not trust that they're going to catch you?
No, I know
Never.
them.
That's
I
awesome.
know all the girls on the bottom.
I have to ask that just because, I mean, if I was getting thrown up in the air and there were people supposed to catch me, I'd be like, they're not going to catch me.
No, they're very.
Jared, everyone would get out of the way.
That's exactly right. They would get out of the way. That's exactly right.
Well, it depends what you have done to them at lunch or something, whether they're going to let you fall. But no, that's confidence, though. And how do y'all establish confidence? I mean, you just got to trust the person next to you.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think it's so good because as a team this year, like, we're all so close. And so, like, there's already a lot of, like, that companionship and that friendship that needs to, like, you need to have in order to have a strong team. Like, that's already been there for a really long time. Like, a lot of these girls have been together for a really long time. So that's already been there since when we were, like, little.
That's what I was fixing to ask you is have you been, cheering on squads with these girls since they were,
Yes,
7th grade,
yes.
6th grade, and younger?
Yes, I've known a lot of these girls since we started in middle school together, yeah.
But y'all don't not only do football. Y'all go to volleyball games. Y'all do basketball games.
Right.
Y'all do other stuff.
Yeah,
for the
we do
school
it
team.
all. We do it all. Yeah, we're in, like, every event.
How do you guys prepare for cold weather? Last week was kind of cool. This week is going to. I mean, do y'all do anything different, or do y'all ask, can I wear sweats? I mean, what do y'all do?
2 words. Lots of hot hands.
Okay.
We love our hot hands. We have them all over the sidelines. We have them in our sweats, on our shoulders, wherever we can get them. We just like our hot hands, and we wear our sweats. Those are really good.
So a day of cheerleading practice, what does that involve?
Well, I live like 30 minutes away from here, so I wake up at 5 and I do like my hair. I fix my hair, do a little bit of makeup, go off to school. I get there around 7 and everybody's like coming in and they're all tired and Miss Guzman's like, okay, let's practice, girls. And some of us are like, ugh. But some of us are like, woo! And so like we roll out mats and then we just go through our routine over and over and over. And it's a little tiring at sometimes, but we know all the hard work is going to lead us somewhere eventually.
So is there a theme for this year's performance? Is it?
No, there's no themes.
They don't theme
it's
them.
just game day oriented.
Okay.
So anything we would do like on the sidelines. Yeah.
And when they say sidelines, they only incorporate football. They don't do like basketball or volleyball or anything like that, right?
It's a more football centered event. So
Okay.
yeah.
Because y'all do change some of the stuff you do for basketball and volleyball. I'd imagine there's different cheers, and
Yes,
then,
yes.
y'all get to perform actually a routine at halftime. I've
Yeah.
seen that because I've done, we've done some of the games and stuff. So.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to say run it down the field when you're in a basketball game because then you just look a little silly.
We would never want that.
Oh no, never.
And what are your plans for after high school?
After high school, I'm either going to go to Texas State or Texas Tech. I haven't decided yet. And I'm going to study to be a elementary school teacher. Okay. Yeah, I want to be an elementary school teacher. And then hopefully I get a job there, and that'll be that.
Awesome. Well, good.
Awesome.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. well, good luck to you, and
Thank
good luck in
you.
the competitions this year. And it's nice to have you on the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And we have one more.
We might have a captain here, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Right.
tell us your name and your grade.
Okay, my name is Kendra Cadena, and I'm a senior, and I'm the head captain of this amazing squad.
And what does being the captain entail?
It entails a lot of hard work and a lot of leadership. I really want these girls to look up to me as someone they can be in a few years if they're a freshman, or if they're a junior, they can look up to me and hopefully try out to be a captain next year and kind of show off those leadership skills.
Congratulations on being a captain, by the way.
Absolutely.
So what is your toughest chore when you have to get on someone?
Oh, yes. I'm not the type of person that likes to yell at people or get onto them. So usually with these girls, I don't have to as much. But I do get a little nervous when I have to do that because I don't like yelling at them.
But you can yell in a constructive
yes,
way.
Of course.
You know, it's not. It doesn't have to be negative. It can be in a positive
yes,
way.
I always try to give them the most positive feedback just to help them
Kendra,
with whatever problems.
We have a tight game. It's fourth quarter. Ball's going back and forth. We're getting close. Are we watching the game or are we cheering? How do y'all balance that?
We're usually watching the game. And
I would be too.
We kind of do this thing. We spirit. We just kind of cheer on the boys. We don't really call much chance when it's kind of a tight game. We're kind of really focused on the game. So we kind of just spirit. Say, let's go Panthers. Do all kinds of stuff like that.
Tell us a little bit about like the competitions. There's a choreographer. Being that you're the captain, are you involved in any of that in any way, or is there a choreographer that's brought in?
There's a choreographer that's brought in, but we kind of incorporate all of our ideas to her, and I kind of incorporate my ideas, and she kind of takes that and kind of creates that, what's it called?
Chemistry.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you in sync with one of the drum majors or whatever to where y'all kind of are on the same page, or is the band playing something different when y'all?
We kind of listen in to see what the band's playing, and we have certain band dances that go with the songs that the bands play. So we do that. So we're together and in sync. And then they always play their fight song. We always have, every time they play the fight song, we always get into our formation because we have a specific routine for that.
But do y'all know when that's coming? Do they
Sometimes.
give y'all a heads up, or is that just something?
just-
Oh, here we go. We got it.
Sometimes we keep an eye on them, and that's how we.
Well, and it's easier now that the band's down in the end zone. Used to, they were on the opposite side of the stands down there.
It's very difficult to hear what they were playing.
Yeah. And when did you start cheering? How old were you when you started?
I was in 7th grade going into 8th grade. Growing up, I did not think I was going to become a cheerleader.
So you didn't do tumbling or gymnastics or anything like that?
I started my 7th grade year, and I went to Amber's. I had friends telling me, hey, why don't you try out for the cheer team? And we've been friends since middle school, and she kind of got me into that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try it out. So I tried it. I went to Amber's for a few months, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I did it, and I made the team my 8th grade year.
And now here you are, the captain.
So how do you become the captain? Does the team vote on the captain, or does the Miss Guzman pick that out, or and what is that based on? Just your leadership skills and
yes, you have to
enthusiasm.
You have to fill out an application, like a little application. You have to come out with the whole tryout routine, come up with a dance, a cheer, a chant, anything that you would have to make up for the actual performances, like pep rallies and stuff. So we come up with those routines, and then we're based and we're judged on that criteria, on how good our routines are.
So how many were up for captain?
Quite a few.
Are they typically seniors?
Typically juniors and seniors.
So when you try out, is the entire squad there watching you, or is it just a few people?
No, it's usually me and the coach.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and there's citizenships, yes. Leadership, and you kind of write down like what you're involved in, if you're involved in with the community or anything else. So that's really a major thing.
Uniforms. Who picks them? Who designs them? Do you have any input at all? Do the rest of the girls have any input?
Yes,
what happens there?
We do. Typically, it's our coach that picks these out, but then she asks our opinions, and we're like, okay, yeah, we like that, or we're like, maybe we should get this, and she'll listen to our feedback and say, okay, we'll get those, or those shirts, or those uniforms, So.
But people just don't realize the routine and what y'all, how hard it is to be down there, and especially when it's 30 degrees and sleeting, and still trying to keep a straight face.
Yes.
Walk us through a football game. I mean, you sit there and you cheer solid for 2 quarters. At halftime, you take a break maybe.
Yes.
Third quarter, you go to the other side of the field. What happens when that happens?
Third quarter?
Don't you go to the other side with the other squad, and then they come to this side?
Walk us through a typical game and what y'all do.
So, at the beginning, we go through the alma mater, then we cheer through the first 2 quarters, and then it's halftime. Usually that's good. We're still pretty, excited and all that. And then third quarter comes around, and we typically don't go to the other side of the field with the other cheerleaders now. We, as a team...
Too many fights break out?
No.
Oh, okay.
We just really want to focus on cheering on our boys more than kind of going to... But we do, we create a basket for the other team with like snacks and goodies and all kinds of things that we think they'd like, and we take it over to them, and we say hi, we introduce ourselves, and that's about it.
And this is at what part of the game?
Third quarter.
Third quarter.
Yes, and then we go exchange, and sometimes they give us things too, and then we distribute throughout the team. And then third quarter ends, we're still cheering, and then fourth quarter comes around, and we're still trying to keep everybody pumped up, and then that's about it.
Is the mascot part of your group, or is that totally different?
He's part of our group.
Do you try out for mascot and all that? Is that like a tryout
Yes,
thing? Like you
they-
say, I want to be the mascot? Okay.
They come up with their own routine as well, and so they perform it in front of Coach Guzman, and she chooses who becomes the mascot.
Now let me ask you all this: like when you go to competitions, like obviously you probably met some of the cheerleaders, being that the football team plays them, or vice versa. Is there any like animosity, like all the boys and stuff, they trash talk each other? Do y'all get that too? Is there any of that?
No,
Not really.
No, we're pretty much really kind to each other. Some of us are friends with some of the other girls on the teams.
Sure, that's cool.
We see them.
Yeah.
All
So
the
you
time.
can't believe anything you see in the movies.
Yeah.
No, it's nothing like the movies, no sir. No.
That's all done just to make
Yeah.
people watch. It's all drama based.
We all come together because we all, our teams are pretty much the same.
Well, y'all go to
all
camps
family.
together.
Yeah, do y'all
and,
cheer with some of them, like at other camps and things like
Yes.
that? And yeah.
Sometimes you see people from other schools and you're like, you can become friends with them. And so it's good. You
So
create different friendships.
Kendra, what's next for you after high school?
After high school, I plan to go to college, and I'm not too sure if I want to go out of state. I'm kind of looking into that. I do not plan to cheer. I plan to focus on more of my studies and kind of looking into my future. That's about it.
Great. That's great. One more thing for all three of y'all. When you have competitions coming up, how nervous do y'all get beforehand? Like do y'all get more nervous performing in front of the whole school during a pep rally or at the competitions?
Competitions.
And how many people are generally watching? Like all the squads that are there and
Thousands.
all their parents
All
and
the
all that kind of
parents.
stuff? Fully, okay.
Yes.
It's like the AT&T Center.
I think it's
Oh, okay.
worse. I think it's worse at competition because if you mess up, like everybody knows you mess up. Like at school, if you mess up, everybody's like, "Oh, okay, well that wasn't anything."
Because
But,
they're
like,
not invested in it and don't know,
they
right?
don't know.
Okay.
But at competition, everybody knows.
And there's this huge spotlight on you at
Oh yes,
competition. It's
blinding
you.
light.
Yes.
How does that affect you? Does that you can't see the audience?
No,
Is that
no.
you can't see the
You
audience?
just see that bright light and the judges with their little lamps writing things down.
Personally, I don't wear my glasses or my contacts when I do that because I don't want to see anyone.
Hopefully you're not catching any money from the top then.
Yeah.
Or you like they say, you're pitching everybody in their underwear, so you're not supposed to worry about it anyway. So there you go.
Well, girls, thank y'all for joining us, and
having us.
good luck in your competitions and in what y'all do after high school.
Thank you.
And we are going to go ahead and take a break and then come back. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue here in just a moment.
This is MVBN, the Medina Valley Broadcast Network.
Headed out to the game? Then make a stop at your local Valley Mart convenience store. With 12 area locations, Valley Mart is always right around the corner. Fuel yourself and your vehicle with quality branded gas and diesel, snacks, and fountain drinks. Always convenient, well lit with clean restrooms. Valley Mart, family owned and operated since 1984, and a proud supporter of Medina Valley athletics and area youth sports for over 30 years.
Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you.
Medina Electric Cooperative is sending 3 students on the trip of a lifetime for free. The 2020 Government in Action Youth Tour is an all-expenses-paid week-long learning and leadership event in June that starts in Austin and then takes kids to Washington, D.C. Winners also receive a $500 scholarship for college. The deadline is December 13th, 2019. Apply online at Medina.
You're watching Medina Valley Sports. This is the Medina Valley Broadcast Network.
Welcome back here to Sports for Supper as we move into we're going to recap what we just talked about a little bit and then move on to our picks for the week. But I do need to read something here from the Sports Boosters, and that is that the Medina Valley Athletic Boosters are in the middle of selling raffle tickets for their major fundraiser of the year, 30 prizes in 30 days. As a result of this fundraiser, we were able to give $10,000 in scholarships and gave back over $10,000 to our sports teams this year. You can purchase a raffle ticket at Jukes, Hillside Boutique Hotel, Community National Bank in Castroville and Lacoste, 3D Landscaping, MV Spirit Store, Minute Grain and Feed Store, or send us a message via Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook at Medina Valley Athletic Booster Club. And also come visit the Medina Valley Athletic Boosters at Old Fashioned Christmas on Friday, December 6th and Saturday, December 7th. MV Gear makes a great gift for sports fans of all sizes and shapes. They'll have all their merchandise available, plus raffle tickets that make great stocking stuffers. Best of luck to all the Panther teams.
And I've seen, and Dwayne has worn some of those. They got some very nice Game Guard shirts now.
Oh yeah,
the Booster Club. So
they are
really
real
nice stuff,
all
real nice
all
apparel.
The way around.
It's all quality merchandise.
Yeah, from the clothing to the seats, that everything. The caps are outstanding. Get some good stuff there.
Absolutely.
And Dwayne, you want to go over the picks part first, or you want to talk about the football game Friday
first? Talk a little
first?
bit about the game
Let's
first.
Talk some football.
You know, I just want to comment on last week's game. For 3.5 quarters, Medina Valley was playing a top 10 team in the state. Play for play, player for player. Midway through the third quarter, the Medina Valley just intercepted a pass and was on the march to score. And unfortunately, things didn't go well after that. But the final score wasn't indicative of how good of a ball game Medina Valley played.
Absolutely not.
And just hearing the enthusiasm of some of the players, and it's going to be a little bit different this week because there's not going to be a JV game, and a lot of the players would get together at the JV games and they'd sit in the press box and they'd cheer whoever was playing, whether it was a JV or the freshman. Little bit different, but you get a little bit more extra time practicing.
Yep, and I want to remind everyone that game this week is against the Brenham Cubs. That game's in Brenham. It's a 7:30 kickoff on Friday night. It'll be live here on the Medina Valley Broadcast Network. We'll be on the air around 7:10. But Brenham is the district champion in that district. Medina Valley did finish in the 4th spot, going by Lockhart beating Medina Valley earlier this year. And when you look back at the district that the Panthers had, they could easily have been in the 3rd spot, or in some cases
open,
up to the 2nd. And we talked about how they've looked better each week, and hopefully that can keep going this week against Brenham.
From what I understand, we match up well against them too.
Yep, that's what Coach Chris kind of said.
I was going to say, you can ask Dwayne, you can ask Jeff, you can ask Jared. The losses that Medina Valley had, Lockhart, Bernie Champion. Medina Valley came back on Bernie Champion, was getting ready to take the lead, had actually recovered a fumble on the kickoff, scooped it in, scored. The play was ruled dead. Medina Valley got the touchdown taken away. We can all go back to one significant play in those losses that if they go the other way, instead of Medina Valley finishing with 3 losses, they could very easily have finished with just one, and that was the loss against Kerrville-Tivy.
Yeah, absolutely, and there was a play or two in that game that could have swung things the other way also.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at it, it's a play here and there. Unfortunately, they didn't go Medina Valley's way. Hopefully some of those things, when you get in the playoffs, your talent's going to take you, but you also need some breaks when you get in there.
We talked about it earlier.
And we're due.
Yeah, we're due.
Absolutely. We didn't get many of them this year. And Jared, not only did our games go one player or another. I think there was a lot of the other district games that were so tight that they had things happen too that they could have gone either way, and they could have just changed the whole outcome.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And, when you look at the Brennan team coming up here, they talked about how, they've got a back kind of like James Gibson that is a bruiser runner and stuff. I really think it helps this Panther defense that they've been able to practice against James Gibson and that they're running first team against first team and not the JV, and that they've been able to have to practice against someone like him.
And I think our defensive line and linebackers are made for a running situation. I mean, we're built for that. So I do think we match up well against these guys.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a good football game. I really do.
The thing that bothers me right now is the 2.5 to 3 hour drive or whatever it is to get there. I
3 hours. It's about 3 hours.
I'm not sure how that affects us or if it even affects us, but a neutral site maybe would have been better. I don't know.
Well, that's just the way that the districts work now. I mean, you don't even get a choice.
No, you
I
don't.
like it because you reward the first and second place teams in the district. It is something to play for. It's something like
But I think that's
we're
the
sitting
furthest
here,
school in their district that we got to
Well, no, it is. But you know
where
what?
we're sitting there thinking, hey, is Bernie Champion just going to lay down and not play against Alamo Heights? Well, you got home field riding on that game, those games also. So that it encourages you to keep playing all the way through.
Well, and then you look at, Leander Glenn's got to come to Bernie Champion, and Eastview's got to come to Kerrville Tivy. Those are no short drives either, so they're not getting rewarded for, you made the playoffs, but you're the 3rd and 4th seed, and for that you have to travel a long way. And, I mean, I kind of understand that. When you look at some of the other schools, Hondo gets to play Bandera. That's a home game for Hondo, but Bandera's only got to drive 26 miles down the road to get to that stadium, and here we are having to go 3 hours away. But we went 2.5 last year to Leander Glenn. Unfortunately, came out on the wrong side of that.
Well, and nothing makes a refreshment feel better on a 3-hour ride home after you've just beat the number 1 team in that other district. So
especially at their home field.
At their home field. So that makes the drive home, with a couple of Coca-Colas really good.
Yeah, I tell you one thing though, I don't care how far the drive is, the support will be there.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
We will travel.
Well, they're taking buses and all that kind of stuff.
There's charter buses already getting filled up to go to that game, and we'll be on that bus. Also, though,
Dwayne, is that something that you've got to contact the sports booster with,
the
or how do
sports
you
boosters
get
are
a hold
putting
of if you want to ride on the bus?
I'm not sure if the sports boosters I really don't know more. I don't know. We just got.
Well, you would just have to contact the school, correct?
Yes, or the sports boosters. I believe the sports boosters are the ones that's putting it together.
And one bus, I believe, is already full, and
That's
they are
right.
trying to line up a second one.
Working
So
on a second bus.
that ought to tell you right now that you're going to have a crowd full. And Medina Valley always travels good.
So what's anybody looked ahead for the weather situation?
It's supposed to
Beautiful
be. Yeah,
evening.
it's supposed to be a nice evening. No clouds. It's supposed to be clear. I think it's going to be in the 40s.
Yeah,
from what I've
high
seen.
on the Fridays in the mid 60s, so it'll get down into the 40s.
40s, yeah, high
Probably.
40s, low 50s at night, or probably during the game at least.
I guess the assumption it's a turf field. I'm not.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yep, turf field. It'll be a nice trip.
Is it 100 yards long?
No, actually, it's 120.
No, from what I hear, they've got a pretty nice field. I had a guy that I used to work with. He went to high school at Brenham, and said that they've got a pretty decent facility there.
The big question.
It's where the college plays too. Blinn.
Do they? The big question is, in the concession stand, do they serve Bluebell ice cream?
No, but it's right across the highway.
Oh my!
With all that said, guys, I think the focus of the Panthers, just talking to the young men that were here, Coach Crisp, they are rallying around what transpired in last week's game. It's a positive. The young man is back. He's at school. He's been on the sidelines with the practices. He'll probably be down there supporting his team on the sidelines if possible. But just to see that young man back and performing the things that he could before, hats off to him and hats off to the training staff and the medical staff that was down there on the field when that happened, because you don't appreciate the trainers and the young trainers that do their job. And you know what? That's great.
Yeah, it was a good effort.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think what y'all were talking about with the kids really resonated with me on that. As far as the game itself, you look at it last year, and I guarantee that everyone in our district went into all 4 of those games a little overconfident. And I know that in our interview with some of the kids last year, they talked about, you know what, we can beat this team. We're going to beat this team. They were really confident in the interview. And after the game that we lost to Glenn, I was walking down out of the bleachers on the home side, and I heard a few of the players talking about the interview that we had on Wednesday night with some of those players. And they were mocking them, kind of like, oh, yeah, y'all can play with us. So they knew we gave them locker room. We gave them stuff to talk about. And I think going into that game, we ourselves were overconfident. I think as fans we were overconfident. And I think going into this year, it's a little different for our kids. And I think it's a new mindset.
I think you throw that 4th spot out the door.
I agree.
Throw it out the window, and it's just us against them.
Yeah, and y'all were talking with the kids about that too, and that I think we have a real good chance at this. I think some things have to happen early in the game. I think we've been playing. You go back to the last several games. You go back the first 2 drives, nobody scored, and I think you got to continue that. I think you got to have a scoreless first quarter. You got to stay within 1 score, or you got to, open it up on them in the second quarter. And I think if you do that in the second half, you've given yourself an opportunity to win the game.
I could have swore the first or second time that Leander Glenn had the ball, they marched down and scored.
Yeah, I'm talking about this year.
Oh.
Yeah, this year. Yeah, Leander Glenn, they scored at will.
Yeah.
On us last year.
And the young men that we had here prior to that game may have given them, bulletin board material, but I'd rather sit across the table from a young man that says we're going to go in there and beat him rather than one that's going to say,
you can say that, but your coach is not going to want that said.
No, you talk about that all year.
That happens in the NFL. That happens in college football. You don't want to give the opposing team stuff to put on their bulletin board.
Well, all of the teams in district and everywhere have had that all year because we interview the players every single week. So
I'm just saying but the way it was construed by that team last year was kind of they kind of used whatever was said. I don't remember what was said.
I don't.
But it was confidence out of those kids, and that's not anybody's fault. I mean, the kids were confident, and but I think it was a little bit more of that. The kids really didn't know what to say, and they were saying probably a little too much, and they were confident. And you got to understand, going into a game like that, you can be confident, but don't rub it in somebody's face.
Right, and and we went into that game also as the number 4 seed, correct?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did
it. And we had talked about it. Okay, this team's playing this team, this team's playing that team. Well, I'm sure that Bernie Champion doesn't have a radio show or anything on a Wednesday to give them bulletin board material, but they also went into that game overconfident, and they got beat and didn't give them any bulletin board material.
Well, I think a lot of it was that nobody knew what that district had. Nobody knew it. You watch those teams beat up.
Well, it's Austin area. We can beat the Austin area.
This is a different team this year. Totally different team, and I think their mindset is totally different. They've lost a few games. They know what it feels like, so they know what to say.
You're absolutely
right.
There.
They're going to go into this game with a total different mindset. They're going to go into this game, and the one thing on their mind is going to be we have to execute. We have to execute. We cannot make any mistakes because we know what happens when we do make mistakes. And like we talked earlier, this part of the season, they're playing their best football. As they can continue to do that, special teams can help them out. We can get some turnovers. We're going to win. We're going to win this game.
I'm not going to go out and tell you what the score is going to be.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to look like we're overconfident and we're not confident. I'm just going to say the Panthers are going to win.
Well, I'm just going to say it's going to be. I think it'll be a close game. I think it's going to come down to turnover battles and who doesn't make the most mistakes in the game.
Right.
And I think that's going to be who wins the ball game is whoever doesn't make the most mistakes.
Absolutely, Jared.
I think we can get on a roll. If we can get on a roll, like I said, keep it close early, and then get on a roll late.
Yep.
And be butter.
No, well, good luck to them. I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. This is what it's all about. You've worked all summer, all fall, get it ready for playoff season.
It's
and we're
playoff
here.
time.
It is playoff time. And we're glad to be here.
And the
aren't we?
weather's perfect for it. It's perfect
Absolutely.
football weather.
We're glad to be here.
All right, Dwayne, you ready?
Yeah, tell us those picks, Dwayne. I know you don't want to talk about them this week.
Well, we had a little bit of a slide this week on our college picks, and I will say that between the four of us, no one came out better than 500.
What do you mean? I was 2-6 again.
You were
There was no slide.
Jeff stayed where he was at.
That was exactly the same.
Jared had some good picks. He came out with an even 4-4. I kind of slid some. I was 2-6. Maury 3-5, and Jeff was 2-6.
So what does that do to our overall standings?
Overall standings.
I stay in last.
Jared has taken the lead by 1 game over myself. He is 30-22. I am 29-23. Maury is on our tails at 27-25, and Jeff is leading the bottom of the pack at 21-31.
And let's get to this week's game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait a minute. Do I have a chance to catch anybody?
No.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not.
Well, we'd all have to pick separate from you.
Even if there's 6 weeks left, you still don't have a chance.
9 games, and hopefully we'll be back next week to review
hopefully
them.
so.
So let's talk about the top of my list is
Texas Tech.
TCU playing Texas Tech. TCU favored by 3.
Does anyone know what time that game is?
Siri does.
I just want to know.
It's different at night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Siri, what time is the Texas Tech football
Because
game?
in the daytime you can dodge them tortillas. At night you
Texas
can't.
Tech faces TCU on Saturday at 11 a.m.
Oh, it's
TCU's a 3-point favorite.
3 points.
I go with the Horned Frogs.
I will too.
Me too.
Texas Tech.
Jeff will go with Tech.
Is that with your heart pick just because you went there, or
just because it doesn't matter?
We'll go out of state for the second one. Number 23 Navy who moved into the top 25, taking on number 16 Notre Dame, who is a 7-point favorite.
Notre Dame.
I'm gonna go with Navy. 7 points is a lot of points.
Notre Dame
with that offense that Navy runs.
Okay. Troy, Texas State.
Troy.
Trojans.
Texas State with the upset of the week last week. The
Trojans.
upset 1-7 South Alabama.
Trojans.
Huge upset.
What's the line on that?
-7 Trojans.
Trojans -7.
Oh, Trojans.
Jeff?
Yep.
I think we're all going to go that one. Texas, Iowa State. You know that's going to be a good game.
That's in Ames, isn't it?
It's a good game.
And Iowa State's given 7.
Iowa State is favored.
I go Iowa State on. I think Iowa State wins the football game.
Well, they got to, or they ain't going to cover the -7.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Boo Horns.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I'm going with the
Maury?
Boo Horns.
Wow.
I'm going with Texas.
No, I change mine to Texas.
I'm going Iowa State.
With Iowa State 7-point favorite.
Jeff, Texas?
Yep. That's what I said. Boo Horns.
That's right. Iowa State's a 7-point favorite in that game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I take Texas in that.
UTSA going for their second win in a row
against Southern Miss.
Southern Miss.
Oh
No.
Southern Miss.
17 points.
17-point favorites.
Southern Miss puts a 50 spot up.
I think Southern Miss covers that. Unfortunately.
Maury.
Southern Miss.
That's at Southern Miss,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Number 10 Oklahoma against undefeated Baylor.
I'll
Number
be
13.
there. I will be at that
What's
game.
the point?
-10. Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma's
in
a 10.
Waco.
Yeah.
Wow. No respect.
Well,
to
no,
the Bears.
Baylor gets no respect. They're number 13 in the nation, and they're 9-0.
I'm an Oklahoma Sooner fan, but I'm going to take Oklahoma winning, but not covering the 10. Baylor.
Yeah, I'm saying Baylor.
Jarrett?
I got to go with Baylor, or my wife will have my head when I get home.
Actually, I'm going to change mine to Oklahoma.
That's. I feel like it's either going to be a close game or a blowout.
I think it's going to be a blowout.
Oklahoma wins by 3, so I've got to go with Baylor. That's my pick. A&M, South Carolina. A&M 10.5-point favorites.
A&M.
Where's it at?
South Carolina. It's at A&M. I'm going with South Carolina.
South Carolina played their one big game of the year against Georgia.
I think A&M's got that.
South Carolina's playing for a bowl game.
So is A&M.
Nah, A&M, they'll make it. They beat UTSA.
I think A&M wins, but I don't think they win by 10.5. I'll take South Carolina. Number 4, Georgia against number 12, Auburn.
Ooh.
Auburn 2.5-point favorites.
Is that between the hedges?
Yeah, no, it's in Auburn.
In Auburn.
Oh, it's in Auburn.
I'm taking the Tigers.
What's the line again?
2.5.
2.5.
Auburn?
Yep.
I'm going to go with Georgia.
I'll go with Georgia.
Number 8, Minnesota. Number 20. I took Georgia, by the way. Number 8, Minnesota, and number 20, Iowa.
I'm taking the
Iowa,
Hawkeyes at home.
Minnesota's still
Iowa's
undefeated.
-3, and Minnesota's undefeated.
I'm taking Iowa
That's
at home.
because it's at Iowa, right?
Yeah.
It's at
Ooh.
Iowa.
I'm taking Kurt Ferenz and the
Does Minnesota
Hawkeyes.
have a letdown after that Penn State win?
That's
the
true.
That's the
and they're going to Iowa. Yeah,
Iowa.
I'll take Iowa.
yeah, Iowa.
As much as I'd love to see Minnesota win again.
And I will take Minnesota. There you have it.
There you go.
If we're here next week, we'll rally behind that.
And if not, we'll post the results.
Yep.
Yeah, but guys, hopefully we get another week of this.
I hope so.
I just want to make a quick announcement, guys. Give me 1 minute. Today was early signing day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations
that's
to
right.
Abby Zinsmeyer going to Murray State for shooting.
The Racers.
That's right. Audra Clark, Nebraska,
For
soccer. Megan Hahn, South Dakota State. She'll be a Jackrabbit. Congratulations to Megan. And Gabriella McNally going to Kansas
State for golf.
For golf.
Wait, who's going to Nebraska?
Audra Clark.
For soccer, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 4 girls.
Yeah, congrats to those girls.
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
Big time. Yeah.
And what did you say the girl, the first one you
Abby
said?
Zinsmeyer shooting.
Murray State.
Shooting sport.
They have that in high school now?
No.
Shooting?
No, she's doing it through 4-H.
She was in 4-H.
Oh, yeah.
4-H,
Okay,
yeah.
I
Don't
got you.
stand in front of her with an apple on your head and tell her to shoot it off because she will.
Yep.
She's
So,
a good shot.
so congratulations to them.
All of them.
For doing that. And I'm sure we'll have more to come for other sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was early signing date, which they started about
2 years ago.
2
right?
years ago. And so this is the early signing period. But, throughout the course of the next 3-4 months up until February 1st, I believe it is the actual national signing date. So you may have a few more signed before then.
Yep.
So
Congratulations to Jesse Keller on his
good
Bull Elks.
things. Good things happen at Medina Valley.
Well, guys, hopefully we have one more of these shows after this week. But I'd like to remind everyone you can tune in on Friday night. We'll be live at Cubs Stadium in Brenham. It is 7:30 kickoff on Friday night. We'll be on the air around 7:10.
We are looking for sponsors still. If you would like to sponsor, it's going to be a big audience this Friday night.
Yeah,
Contact info.
830-931-4504.
And not to mention, Jeff, basketball starting up. If they want to sponsor basketball,
Yeah, we'll actually we'll get started with boys basketball and girls basketball with our spring packages, which will be coming out middle to end of December, and in January we'll be sending all that stuff out, and we'll make sure we have all that information out on Facebook.
I know the girls already started They had a game last night, so good luck to the girls basketball program.
Did they play Kerrville? Weren't they?
Bernie.
Okay.
They played Bernie.
Okay. I know they were playing.
Kerrville is their first one here, I believe.
I thought he said
say?
it was their opening game of the year. That's what he had told us.
Maybe they played it already.
Yeah,
Jared.
because it was supposed to be. I thought last Saturday. It was on a Saturday, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they might have played that already.
Okay,
So-
I didn't see no results
So
on
you're
that one.
going to be calling some of the basketball games?
Yeah, I'll be doing as many as we do. Usually we alternate, boys, girls, and just kind of look at the district schedules and see what the biggest games are, and we try to cover them accordingly.
Absolutely.
But we'll for sure be doing some basketball games this year, and I'll be doing as many of those as I can.
We'll roll right into baseball.
Yep,
Softball.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. Well, hopefully we'll have another show next week, guys. But just remember to tune in. You can get on that bus and call the school and get on the bus to go to Brenham if you want to, or you can join us live here on the Medina Valley Broadcast Network. You can get us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. And you just look up
listen
Medina
to you guys
Valley.
at the game.
Yeah, or you can take a little radio with you or your phone or whatever, and get some earphones and listen to it at the game while you're watching. And You can tune in. Just remember, 7:30 is first kickoff, 7:10 airtime, and hopefully we'll get another show next week. So for Maury Stein, Dwayne Garza, and Jeff Stivers, I'm Jared Lucky saying good night, God bless, and we'll see you Friday night when Panther playoffs continue.